All right, welcome back, fellow Ambazonians, and thanks once more for tuning in, especially for those of you who are watching from Ground Zero and Ground One, of course. And all of you, fellow Ambazonians in all of Europe, the United Kingdom, the continental USA, South America, Canada, and of course Asia. Thanks for tuning in. Again, before I bring you this special presentation, I just want to remind all of you out there, those who drafted and have not yet redeemed those drafts. Please, we are in December. And December is the month of grace. The month of grace for the redemption of those drafts. Please, I am appealing to all of you. Remember, this money is not being sent to the central government, the interim government. This money is going into your local governments in your counties. We're not asking you to send us money. We're asking you to send your counties and your local government the drafts that you drafted so they can procure the equipment necessary to confront La République du Cameroon, to defend ourselves in our own territory. So again, I will continue to make this appeal. We can't expect so much from the boys on the ground who are not being paid. They are volunteering with their lives. We're only asking you to volunteer with your money. But we will continue to make this appeal until you all begin to respond, because without money, we will do nothing. Absolutely nothing in the prosecution of this war. So please, if you drafted and you have not yet redeemed your draft, make sure you do so, because December will be the last month for the 2020 national draft. And I want to believe that all the chairpersons and chairladies out there in the LGAs and the counties are making the effort to personally reach out to all their constituents to get them redeem these drafts. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the way things are going, if we do not fortify, put money into the hands of those boys, put appropriate equipment into their hands, I bet you things may not look so good. But again, victory lies in our hands. We can do it if we will support, if we will sponsor our constituencies. Please, ladies and gentlemen, go ahead, hit your share button quickly. The numbers are not rising to my liking, but I know we will get there. In the next 5 minutes, we got to get 700 people on the social media platform of Facebook. So if you are just joining, hit your share button, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining the platform, you go ahead and hit the share button. And while you do so, I just want to remind our comrades, our brothers and sisters and parents out there on Ground Zero that December the 4th through December the 7th is, again, lockdown, a complete lockdown of Ambazonia in anticipation of French Cameroon organized elections in our territory. We are not organizing a lockdown or instituting a lockdown to stop election. Let's not misunderstand this, ladies and gentlemen, because I've heard so many people say, oh, lockdown will not do anything. Lockdown has not stopped any election. Yes, lockdown is never intended to stop elections, because we know exactly the kind of enemy that we are dealing with. La République du Cameroon, whether we agree to elections or not agree to elections, they will hold elections for Bamenda in Bafoussam or Mbunda, and results will still be pronounced. They will hold elections in the southern zone, mountain zone, I call it, either in Douala or in Chang, and the results will still be announced. So we are instituting a lockdown to send a message to the international community. We are not, ladies and gentlemen, we are not cooperating with La République du Cameroon for encroaching into our territory with a criminal, fraudulent election. That is the message we want from this lockdown. When the international community observes that our streets are empty, the city is deserted, the towns are deserted, they know that nobody needs to report to them. They know we are not party to French Cameroon organized elections. That is why the lockdown is very, very critical. Very, very critical to let the international community know again, we are not going to be part of any French Cameroon elections in all of the territory that is called Ambazonia. So please, I am encouraging all of you out there on ground zero, stock your homes with food items, with drinks, with medication, because there will be no opportunity to go out except emergency trips to the hospitals shall be allowed. But then we ask you, please stock your homes. Stock your homes with drinks, water, medication, whatever you need at home within those days. Elections are supposed to be, I think Sunday they sit, but we have a good reason for taking it backward, beginning or starting the lockdown from December the 4th through Monday, which is our regular ghost town, Monday the 7th. So please, it's a moment of sacrifice once more, and for you on ground zero. And I want to believe that our people here in the diaspora see the sacrifice on ground zero and make up their own minds to sacrifice with their money, with their pockets. We have to do it. I have said it here before, ladies and gentlemen. This is not going to be a short war. I don't want to discourage you. It may not be a short war, but however long that it is, victory is always sure at the end of the day. I'm coming to that. So please, lockdown beginning December the 4th through December the 7th in all of Ambazonia. And last week I made the appeal. There are only 7 polling stations in all of the grassland zone. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Their so-called election is not an election like any other, where you have polling stations in every local government, in every county, in every village. No, you have only 7 polling stations if they will actually carry it out there. But if they do, there will only be 7 polling stations in all of the grassland zone and 6 polling stations, only 6 polling stations in all of the mountain zone. That means you may never know where they carry out those elections. But I want to say this, for those of you who are on the ground zero, to remain very, very vigilant. Please remain very, very vigilant. We must know if at all those elections take place in our territory. We must know, because they are taking place either in your neighborhood or in your office. They are taking place somewhere around you. Please open your eyes. Send us the tips. Send us the tips. If we know where those polls are taking place, we will bring them down. Even if it means bringing down the whole building where the polling is taking place, we will bring it down. And for those candidates so-called out there who want to participate in this election, whose names have actually been printed to participate in these elections, the warning is for you. The warning is for you. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we did not participate in their presidential elections. We did not participate in their parliamentary elections. We did not participate in their municipal elections. There is, therefore, no reason why we will participate in this one. Unfortunately for you, the cronies who are stepping out there to put out your head to participate, to stand as candidates in this election, unfortunately for you, this election is not taking you to Yaoundé. You will stay in Bamenda or in Boya, and wherever you meet, we will come after you. I say this without mincing words. We will make sure we come after you if you will sell your generations for silver, not even gold. Ladies and gentlemen, again, just send us tips. Those of you on ground zero, send us with the tips as to who is standing for these elections, who is trying to go out to vote, and where the polling stations, if any, are located. Again, this is very, very important. We must stop these people. It's a plan to permanently divide and rule us. As I said here last time, ladies and gentlemen, when we joined La République du Cameroon in that purported so-called unity, we had one parliament, we had one house of chiefs, we had one parliament, one house of chiefs. There was none in Bamenda. They were all in Boya. But they now come, they try to divide and rule us. They put one in Bamenda, they put one in Boya, so that what Bamenda agrees is rejected in Boya, and what Boya agrees is rejected in Bamenda. And they will get the two people to say, oh, the people in the northern zone should stop grumbling. They should stop talking. They have nothing. They produce nothing. They have no industries. And then you will hear the people in the northern zone saying, oh, the people in the southern zone, these lazy people, they sold all their lands. This is what is coming. This is what La République du Cameroon is trying to do by trying to divide and rule us. We have to stop it by all means. Again, by all means, we have to stop it. And we also have the so-called Cup of, whether it's African Cup of Nations or what, is it a club regional competition or what, that is coming up next month in Victoria. Again, this is another event we have to stop. Our children are sitting home, not going to school, and they're coming to play what? Some football in Victoria. We have to stop it, ladies and gentlemen. We will have to stop it. Even if it means bringing down those stadia in Boya and in Victoria. Every one of us, we have to do our part. We have to do our part in making sure these events, these colonial events, do not happen in Ambazonia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. I see we have over 500 right now, but because this presentation is a little bit lengthy, I will not take much more of your time. I like to come to you straight with this presentation, the presentation proper, which I title exposing L'Afrique and Bamileke chiefs in Ambazonia. Please, I'd like you to give me your ears, because this will be illuminating and educative and of course informative. In a struggle like this, information is power. Information stirs us up. Information keeps our resilience alive. That is why I research these things and bring them to you once in a while, so that we know the reason why we fight. And I'll take you into the presentation, ladies and gentlemen. And while I do so, please keep on hitting your share button. Keep on hitting your share button. Broadcast comes to you thanks to a recent seminar in Bamenda and a meeting of Bamileke chiefs in Bami land about Ambazonia's struggle for self-determination. In this broadcast today, we examine the two events: a seminar organized by La République du Cameroon's Ministry of External Relations in Bamenda, and the second being the gathering in the west region of the Republic of Cameroon of Bamileke chiefs, or you call them traditional rulers. This analysis exposes the falsehoods and the cover-ups by colonial governor L'Afrique during the seminar in Bamenda, and the mischaracterizations by the traditional rulers of the west region of Cameroon during the event in La République du Cameroon's western region. On Tuesday, November the 24th, 2020, a seminar was hosted in Bamenda. The seminar was purportedly organized by La République du Cameroon's Ministry of External Relations. During the seminar, colonial governor of the grassland zone, l'Afrique, issued a warning to those he claimed have been manufacturing and selling illegal weapons in the so-called Northwest region. The colonial agent castigated the makers and sellers of illegal weapons and called on them to desist from doing so because their activities, he said, contribute in fanning the war. According to reports by a regime-friendly media outlet, the colonial agent lamented that, despite the moves made by the Yaoundé regime for peace to return, that the manufacture and sale of illegal weapons, whatever their nature, has indeed hindered the process. Hence, the security situation remains a cause for concern in Bamenda. According to l'Afrique and confidential information from a leaked internal communique by senior military officials deployed throughout Ambazonia, despite the large quantity of weapons they have already seized during military raids and those voluntarily dropped, many of such weapons are still in circulation, making it quite difficult, he said, for the security situation to be effectively improved. Before laying bare some of l'Afrique's contributions to the barbarism carried out in Ambazonia's grassland zone, here is a comprehensive response, ladies and gentlemen, to some of the harrowing falsehoods he propagated through his warning. Number one, on the seminar organized in Bamenda on Tuesday, November the 24th, 2020, by the Cameroon Minister of External Relations. The Ministry of External Relations deals with diplomatic affairs. They deal with diplomatic affairs only. And of course, non-state foreign dignitaries. So why was Upstation Bamenda the venue of this seminar and not Yaoundé or Douala in that matter? Has restive Bamenda suddenly become a venue for international seminars? The Yaoundé regime claims that it has the security situation in Ambazonia, of course including Bamenda, under control. So then, why was the seminar held in secrecy despite massive deployment of terrorist French Cameroon occupying soldiers in Bamenda? Why? L'Afrique is accustomed to convening few impostors, including soldiers in civilian clothes, and then blowing everything out of proportion. It is very likely that this was one of the situations whereby he gathered a few regime apologies for a few minutes and then exaggerated the extent of the occasion. Remember that l'Afrique has a history of exaggerating crowd sizes during heavily boycotted February 11 and May 28 ceremonies. As a regime quisling, l'Afrique has become a perpetual liar. L'Afrique has indeed, throughout the years of this conflict, become a perpetual liar. Makers and sellers of weapons in Ambazonia do not contribute in fanning the war as he wants you to believe. Instead, marauding La République du Cameroon terrorist soldiers are the ones fanning the war. Ambazonians deserve the right to defend themselves and can make or sell weapons that they use, since they are being attacked with AK-47s, Kalashnikovs, and at times chemical weapons too. Ambazonia Restoration Forces must continue to acquire, or let me put it this way, they will continue to acquire, fabricate, and disseminate all types of weapons to defend their local communities vulnerable to attacks. La République du Cameroon soldiers have invaded these localities, these communities. They have maimed, killed innocent people, including children, mothers, grandmothers, and great-grandmothers. They have raped women, destroyed and looted property. The Ambazonia Restoration Forces must produce artillery that maintains their resistance. And we have not forgotten that about 2 months ago, La République du Cameroon's Minister of Territorial Administration, in the person that we all know to be Paul Atanganji, he issued a decree banning the use of cutlasses or machetes in Ambazonia, the main tool used by farmers. Atanganji Paul did not ban the use of cutlasses when Betis in Ebolowa, in Sang Malema, in Mbamayo, among other places in the center, used them to brutalize and chase away Bamilekis from Betiland. This is the point. It will be a very serious provocation with far-reaching consequences if Lele Lafrique attempts to directly or indirectly enforce the ban by including machetes in these lists of so-called illegal weapons. Farming has become the major means of subsistence available to Ambazonians, and trying to indirectly enforce a ban on the tool that they need, the tool that they need the most, to put food on the table will be crossing a very, very dangerous red line. We need the colonial administrators in La République du Cameroon to know this and to take special note. On a related issue, Ambazonia Restoration Forces no longer use then guns to defend the country or defend the territory. But all along, terrorist soldiers display the same catch of then guns, no matter where they claim the guns were seized during the rampant raids. The weapons that terrorist soldiers display each time they claim they seized during an operation, be it in Ndop or other places, are the same weapons displayed when they claim they seized after an operation. Let's say in the corner, the weapons in the corner are the same in Bafut, are the same in Bale, Kembong, Akwaya, Bale, Bello, Bangam, I mean to say. The video footage of weapons that terrorist soldiers showcase is always the same each time that they claim weapons are seized. Also, colonial DOs are known to sometimes assemble prisoners from other towns and paid impostors to assemble and pretend that they are Amba boys surrendering and giving up their then guns. Again, these are all setups. Ladies and gentlemen, these are war tactics to psychologically engineer a sense of defeat. The Ambazonia Restoration Forces are not surrendering. Instead, they are becoming more and more sophisticated and dealing a fatal blow to the terrorists, the République du Cameroon soldiers. Lele Lafrique can keep on shedding crocodile tears. We will continue to expand on our weaponry for this war. After 36 years of a brutal and oppressive annexation by La République du Cameroon, our people, the young, the old, men and women and children, they came out en masse on September 22, 2017 to manifest their irreversible commitment to the right to self-determination, and again on October 1st, 2017, of course, to celebrate Independence Day. Ambazonians have vowed, ladies and gentlemen, that they will not stop resisting La République du Cameroon, not until we have regained our absolute right to own our own territory and our own country. What this means is that La République du Cameroon will have to pull out all of its military and civilian apparatchiks from Ambazonia, whose territorial boundaries are internationally recognized, before they can see an end to Ambazonia's ingenuity in the local fabrication of war artillery. Powerful enough to rain down fire and brimstone on their priceless armor cars and their priceless fighters and war jets. If Lele Afrique is referring to the so-called Bilingualism Commission, Disarmament Commission, National Dialogue, Spatial Status, among others, as moves undertaken for peace to return, he must be living in a dreamland, because they are non-events. These are non-events. They are not even the equivalent of window dressing. The way for La République du Cameroon to stop embarrassing itself and our soldiers in front of a few untrained but brave fighters in Ambazonia is a total and absolute pull-out of Ambazonia. We are determined to resist and to fight to the last man standing. We are inspired by the journey of Israel to the promised land. We are inspired by Eritrea. Ambazonians are inspired by South Sudan. And we are inspired by Somaliland, that no matter how long victory takes, be it 10 years, 20, 30 years, it comes at last. It cannot be stopped. It can only delay. That's why I have said it here before, that our most potent and effective weapon in this war, ladies and gentlemen, is not Le Français or Fontem Asongani. They are good, and they have caused some real damage to the occupying soldiers of La République du Cameroon. But the real winning weapon here, ladies and gentlemen, is patience. It is endurance. That is what is going to give us an edge over La République du Cameroon. They are trying to get us give up, but we need patience to stand and persevere. In his 2020 New Year's speech, La République du Cameroon's Sinai dictator Paul Biya stated that with the work that the Bilingualism Commission was doing, the security situation in what he referred to as Zone Anglophones was improving. It was unclear how the activities of the so-called Bilingualism Commission were improving the security situation in Ambazonia. Also, the dictator thanked terrorist soldiers for their professionalism, so-called, and the marvelous job they were doing in returning peace to the Zone Anglophones. Also, on several occasions, Lele L'Afrique, Atang and Jipo, and high-ranking military officials such as General René Meka, Army Chief of Staff for La République du Cameroon, General Inca Valerie in Bamenda, they declared that the security situation in their so-called Northwest region was under control. For real? Under control? After 4 years of constantly declaring that the security situation is under control, the very Lele L'Afrique comes out to admit that the security situation in the region is difficult to improve. This is a stunning revelation, given the fact that The level of troop deployment and military camps in Ambazonia has only increased. Did Lele Lafrique give a great thought before making such a stunning revelation? Did he? Which was tantamount to acceptance of crushing defeat. That's how we can interpret it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, to Ambazonians who may not know the extent of Lele Lafrique's contribution to the genocidal killings and other acts of barbarism in Ambazonia's grassland zone, here are just a few for you. After Paul Biya declared the war, Lele Lafrique was provided confidential information that their own occupying soldiers will be deployed to carry out genocidal killings and massive destruction of property. Immediately, Lele Lafrique convened a secret meeting with top Bamilekis in Bamenda, and he told them to spread the news among Bamilekis that they should relocate to Bamileki land to avoid being collateral victims of the carnage that he knew was coming. So from the onset, Lele Lafrique was well aware, ladies and gentlemen, that genocidal killings and massive destruction of property were going to be carried out in Ambazonia. But think about this. It seems that the Yaoundé regime declared war on Ambazonia without a budget for funding the war. Probably the misconception was that the war will be over in about 1 or 2 weeks, given the level of carnage and other acts of barbarism that the regime was willing to inflict on our people, the people of Ambazonia. Instead, as time elapsed, the resistance was gaining momentum, and out of a sudden, terrorist soldiers deployed in rural areas in Ambazonia were posting YouTube videos in which they complain about the lack of food, the non-payment of their stipends, and above all, the cutting down of their own colleagues in the battlefields of Ambazonia. Lele Lafrique responded by convening a top Bamileki business magnate in Bamenda. He told them to contribute money towards funding the war because, according to him, if Ambazonia breaks away, their businesses will be in jeopardy. The meeting was co-chaired by none other than the notorious Mr. Amumezam. And according to leaked information from disgruntled participants, about 120 million CFA francs was raised at that meeting. Lele Lafrique told the other Burmese that, due to the sensitive and delicate nature of the deal, he preferred taking the package to Yaoundé so as to secretly deliver it to the appropriate Bertie bosses. It is alleged that while in Yaoundé, Lele Lafrique presented only 75 million of the 120 and warned his Bertie bosses to keep the matter extremely secret, because any leakage will jeopardize the lives of the contributors in Bamenda. Of course, nothing stays a secret in Yaoundé, including minutes of secret meetings held at Etudi Palace. Instead of listing all of the killings that have been carried out in Ambazonia's grassland zone and overseen or presided over by Lele Lafrique, I want to focus on 3 instances of mass killings perpetrated by this man, monitored by him. Lele Lafrique worked with General Aga Robinson, one-time military commanding official for the grassland zone, and 3 other individuals to mastermind the May 2018 massacres of 30 youngsters at a motel at Menka, Pidgin. The other 3 culprits who were involved in planning that carnage were Atanganji, a native of Akum in Santa, and of course the Colonial Territorial Administration Manager, Fru Jonathan, the pompous Santa CPD and boss, Secretary General of one of the low-level ministries in Yaoundé without portfolios, of course, for native Ambazonians. This post reserved for native Ambazonians who show subservient loyalty to the regime. And of course, Achu Julius Ngu was also there, a native of Bafochu and resident of Bonaberi, Douala. Achu Julius is a legal pygmy who frequents Equinox Television to showcase his CPD and bootlicking credentials. He once featured as a regime-paid impostor who sued Ambazonian senior clergy to force them to reopen their schools in defiance of the ban on school resumption. After General Aga Robinson refused to participate in another Pinyin-style massacre in his native Menchum County, when Lele Lafrique and Army Chief of Staff Rene Meka held several meetings to convince him, Aga Robinson was transferred from Bamenda to Garua and replaced with ruthless General in cavalry. The deal was done and planning for the Ngarabu massacres began right there. During his last trip to Bamenda before the Ngarabu massacre will be carried out, flanked by Lele Lafrique and in cavalry, Rene Meka declared that secessionist terrorists will be wiped out. A few weeks later, Rene Meka's Bamenda declaration, the barbaric Ngarabu massacres were carried out with satanic precision. Due to mounting international pressure for a serious independent investigation to be undertaken, and as became very likely that ruthless General Inca Valerie was to be implicated, he threatened to also implicate Lele Lafrique. The Yaoundé regime ignored international pressure for a while and decided not to pursue any serious investigation of the Ngarabu massacres. About 2 months later, the Ngarabu massacre, Lele Lafrique was en route to Fundong when his convoy was attacked shortly before he got there. On his way back from Fundong, Boyo County, his heavily militarized convoy was again attacked within small Babanke. The heavy exchange between restoration forces and terrorist soldiers held the convoy for several hours. A stretch of road that normally takes about mostly 45 minutes to drive through. That encounter triggered another planned massacre, ladies and gentlemen, and massive destruction of property in small Babanke. Lele Lafrique's false premise was that secessionist forces had to be rooted out so that the people of small Babanke could live in peace. That was the 3rd mass murder overseen by Lele Lafrique. On May 15, 2019, in broad daylight and within a span of 2 hours, rampaging terrorist soldiers burnt over 100 homes, savagely mutilated livestock, and killed the quarterhead of Ala Achu in Mankon. Initially, the terrorists refused carrying out the carnage and were believed by Lele Lafrique. It was only after video footage of barbarism, of the carnage, emerged on the social media that Lele Lafrique du Cameroon, that La République du Cameroon's defense minister, Bertie Assomo, acknowledged the incident and said that it was a mistake on the part of his occupying terrorist soldiers. On his part, Lele Lafrique visited the location after several days and promised that a commission of inquiry as usual will be set up to find out what had actually happened so that the victims could be compensated. However, since then, nothing has happened. During his years as colonial governor in Bamenda, Lele Lafrique has staffed the Office of Lands and Surveys, Upstation Bamenda, with his fellow Bamileke natives. This strategy has made it very, very easy for Bamilekes to acquire lucrative parcels of land and obtain land titles in less than 2 months. Compare this to the fact that at times it takes close to 5 years. And after a lot of bribe giving for Ambazonians to obtain land titles, even for their own ancestral lands. Think about this. Lele Lafrique is on a mission to establish a Bamileke chiefdom at Upstation Bamenda. Abakwalanders must not allow this to happen. The latest of Lele Lafrique's provocations was a seizure of motorbikes and refusal to return them to their rightful owners in Bamenda town. After the killing of a notorious bribe-taking terrorist policeman who got into a violent confrontation with taxi drivers who refused to pay 1,000 CFA francs each time they met him. Lele Lafrique deployed terrorist soldiers again to confiscate motorbikes and store them at the Gendarmerie headquarters, Upstation Bamenda, and the council premises downtown Bamenda. When the motorbikers organized a protest and went there to retrieve their motorbikes, they were told to pay 800,000 francs each, which they refused, of course. After it seemed as if the standoff will trigger a tenuous commotion between marauding terrorist soldiers and Abakwalanders, the motorbikers were called to come and retrieve their machines. But when they went there, the newer bikes were nowhere to be found. And the gendarmes who had custody of the machines refused to comment or say a word. A tip from an insider revealed that the newer motorbikes were transported to Mbunda in Bafoussam, where they were sold, and the money retained by the Gendarmerie and Lele Lafrique's agents. Lele Lafrique seems, ladies and gentlemen, are many. He has become a menace to the people in Ambazonia's grassland zone. He has the choice, listen to me, he has the choice of resigning now or wait for the day of reckoning when there shall be no mercy. Yes, no mercy. And I mean no mercy. Now, let me connect these to the events in the West region. According to published reports, on November the 19th, that is about a week ago, 2020 of course, members of the Council of Traditional Rulers in the West region of the Republic of Cameroon, a group that I should call Bamileke Chiefs, they all met and urged their peers, their friends, their other chiefs in their so-called troubled English-speaking regions of the country to urgently meet and activate indigenous and customary mechanisms to put an end to the long-lasting so-called Anglophone crisis, as they call it. As part of their declaration on the socio-political situation of the country, the Bamileke chiefs pointed out to Ambazonian chiefs that the military option taken to end violence in the regions has so far shown its limits. They indicated that the chiefs have to be involved in the search for a concerted indigenous, understand that word, solution to ensure an effective reconciliation and appeasement of hearts. The Bamileke chiefs equally called on parliamentarians to take their responsibilities as the people's representatives and put the Anglophone crisis, that is again their appellation, on their agenda during the November parliamentary session, which has now ended, to bring their own solutions for a return to normalcy in the two regions. It must be pointed out here, ladies and gentlemen, that an overwhelming majority of Bamileke chiefs are members of the Betty-dominated CPDM ruling party. Some of them are CPDM senators too. Some of them are old enough to be aware of the tremendous help, the refuge that the then British Southern Cameroons offered the Bamilekes and Bassas when they were being slaughtered by French Cameroon colonialists, so by French colonialists in the 1950s and by the despotic Ahidjo regime in the 60s. Here are critiques of some of the clauses within the declaration by the Bamileke chiefs. They say English-speaking regions of the country. If the Bamileke monarchs are honest about the political historical relationship between Ambazonia and La République du Cameroun, they would not be using the appellation English-speaking regions. When referring to Ambazonia, they would not. The mere fact, ladies and gentlemen, that then British Southern Cameroons harbored and shielded Bamileke and Bassa refugees from French colonialists and the hellish days of Ahidjo's regime was evident that it was another country, that we were another country. In the 1950s, French colonialists could not cross over into the British Southern Cameroons because we were a country. And even after 1961, Ahidjo still stayed away from the Southern Cameroons until 1966. Indigenous and customary mechanisms, they say, should be applied. It is unclear what the Bamileke monarchs or chiefs refer to as indigenous and customary mechanism. They mean witchcraft, I guess. Throughout history, ladies and gentlemen, indigenous peoples, tribes, who now constitute what is known as the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, established indigenous and customary mechanisms designed only to defend themselves from outsiders, even before the Germans arrived in the late 1880s. We see that today in central Mezam County in the form of Takumbeng women who respond to each call to defend its local people. In the early 90s, Frundi was a beneficiary of tremendous protection by Mankon Takumbeng women. The peace-loving people of Ambazonia are not used to the practice of selling they are not used to selling some of ours for 30 pieces of copper, not even silver. If indigenous and customary mechanisms or witchcraft can be used to fight off sadistic ethno-fascism. Why did Bamileke chiefs not use them when Bamilekis were savagely brutalized and chased out from Paul Biya's backyard, referred to as Beti land? Why did they not employ witchcraft to fight the Betis? Given the fact that Kamto, under an unofficial house arrest, and Alain Fogu, remanded at Kondege, are natives of Bamileke, why have Bamileke chiefs not used their indigenous and customary mechanisms or witchcraft, voodoo, to resolve the raging agitation between the Beti-dominated CPDM and Kamto's MRC? Why haven't they not? Now, they also call this conflict a crisis. Again, the Bamileke chiefs are either severely ignorant or arrogantly provocative. The Ambazonia imbroglio is not based on language. Our conflict, our war is not based on language. It's not a language problem. What we have is decade-long extortionist and oppressive annexation by La République du Cameroon. It is not a language problem when Sonora is based in Victoria but pays its land taxes to Douala City Council, and all of its workers are citizens of La République du Cameroon. No, it is not a language problem when that happens. It is not a language problem when Indian County has 60% of the oil wells in that territory, yet there is nothing in Indian to show for it. It is not a language problem when Menchum Falls can be harnessed to supply electricity to the entire Ambazonia, but it is neglected. By constantly referring to the Anglophone crisis, the chiefs of Bamileke land are propagating the farce that the Bilingualism Commission was established to solve the so-called Anglophone crisis. That is absolutely not correct, wrong. On the socio-political situation of the country, the Bamileke chiefs, here is what they said. The socio-political situation in Ambazonia is totally different from the socio-political situation in La République du Cameroon. Ambazonia wants to regain its independence that was granted on October 1st, 1961, but it was instantly suppressed through a French conspiracy. La République du Cameroon gained its independence on January 1, 1960, and was later granted membership to the United Nations the same year, when Ambazonia was still a colony. People of La République du Cameroon are fighting for regime change. Statehood, ladies and gentlemen, and regime change are two different political desires. Ambazonia want their own country, statehood. And now they say the military option has reached its limit. Yes, La République du Cameroon's military option in Ambazonia was bound to fail. Bamileke chiefs acknowledged the limits of the military option, but they failed to call on native Bamileke sons and daughters serving in La République du Cameroon's military and killing Ambazonians in Ambazonia battlefield to pull out of this dirty war. The monarchs did not call on one of their sons, colonial governor in Bamenda, Lele Lafrique, to stop or to end masterminding the barbarism in the grassland zone of Ambazonia. No, the chiefs did not. They did not call on one of their sons in Boya, Killer Colonel Chinda Henry, to stop overseeing the torture the torture chambers behind the Boya prisons, and mass killings and mass burials within the Boya municipality. The Bamileke chiefs did not. Now, they also talked about effective reconciliation and appeasement of hearts. And what does that mean? If it seems Bamileke chiefs are still warped by the false premise that at the end of this genocidal crisis, there shall be a one consolidated Cameroon, the one and indivisible Cameroon. That shall never happen. It will never happen again. Appeasement and reconciliation shall allow Ambazonia and La République du Cameroon to live side by side as peaceful neighbors, as is the case with Senegal and Gambia, and not as antagonistic neighbors, as is the case between North Korea and South Korea. There is no level of reconciliation and appeasement that shall make Ambazonians to agree to revert to a one and indivisible Cameroon. Never again. Now, they also appeal to the parliamentarians, referring to the parliamentarians as the people's representatives. By the time that the mandate of the last set of parliamentarians expired in 2018, and was extended for over 2 more years, political parties and hence political activities were banned in Ambazonia. Since 2018, no elections have been held in Ambazonia. In fact, Paul Biya did not even campaign in Ambazonia during his 2018 presidential elections. That means Ambazonia have no representatives. The mere fact that Bamileke chiefs still think that they are parliamentarians in Ambazonia means they are validating the fact that elections actually took place in Ambazonia. Hell no, it didn't. This dangerous inference by Bamileke chiefs is a stunning revelation of their real intentions. If Ambazonians embrace the view by Bamileke chiefs, we must then also accept the fact that municipal elections were held in Ambazonia, and we found Bamileke natives more qualified to be mayors in our towns, such as Victoria, Mayuka, Bangam, Bamenda, amongst others. Some of these Bamileke natives mayors, the likes of Concho Emmanuel and Victoria, were not even born in Ambazonia. The Bamileke chiefs should pay attention to what is happening in their country and leave Ambazonia alone with their half-baked solutions. Also, some of the Bamileke chiefs are parliamentarians. Don't forget that. Some are senators, and the leader of La République du Cameroon Senate is Marseille Niad Njifenji. I don't know how to pronounce that. A Bamileke native from Bangante. Have the chiefs ever made an effort to talk to him about what is going on in Ambazonia? When a so-called senator from Ngoketunjia attempted to speak about the Ambazonia problem, he was hushed down. Either the Bamileke chiefs, who are parliamentarians, or senators are suffering from selective memory loss, or they are severely dishonest, very, very dishonest. All bills tabled at the La République du Cameroon National Assembly originate only from the presidency. Individual parliamentarians and or opposition parties cannot table any bills. So how do the chiefs think the Ambazonia conundrum can be tabled by parliamentarians who were not even elected by Ambazonians? How come? How do they think so, if their own senators have not as much have done so? Are these Bamileke chiefs not aware of what happened to Honorable Weber when in 2017 He stormed the podium of the parliament and spoke audaciously about the Ambazonian issue. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the crux of the matter. Due to the Kanto MRC versus BSCPDM standoff, Bamilikis currently find themselves in a precarious situation. The only issue that there is uniform agreement with the Beti-dominated ruling cabal is the Ambazonian conflict. We must pay close attention because each time any Bamileki affiliated group issues a declaration, such as the chiefs, such declaration is to please the Yaoundé regime and not in the interest of Ambazonia. Bamilekis cannot afford to see Ambazonia walk away, since Ambazonia is the only safe harbor for their businesses. Bamilekis were savagely brutalized and chased out of Beti land. Their stores in Douala and Yaoundé are constantly burnt down, and they are not wanted in the greater north either. They must then support the ongoing annexation of Ambazonia because it is the only non-Bamileki political milieu where they can actually become mayors and run their businesses without any political migrants. Shine your eyes. Shine your eyes. Ladies and gentlemen, may God bless Ambazonia. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was my monologue. Quite lengthy there, but I want to believe that you have been educated and you have learned one or two things in that presentation. I am now joined by the one and only Intumfoin Bo Herbert. But before I get him right here on the screen, I like to let you know that at the end of this presentation, if time permits, I will open the phone lines to a few contributions from those of you who are watching. Intumfoin, once more a pleasure to have you here, sir. Good afternoon out there in Washington, no, Virginia.
Yeah, West Virginia. Good afternoon. My pleasure to be here.
I hope you are recovering out there.
Oh yeah, it's coming along. We've all got to get these trials, and you recover from them, and you move on.
Wonderful. You were supposed to be here. I think that was Friday. Unfortunately, you couldn't make it because of the attack on your health. But I am very glad that you are here. A number of things, as you will remember, took place recently. Last week, we are talking about the killings in the Guzang by the ADF, the killings in Guzang by the ADF. And of course, we have these so-called elections by La République du Cameroon coming up. I'd like to get what you think. What has been your take on the reoccurrence of killings in Guzang and by the same enemy who wants every one of us to believe they are carrying arms to defend Ambazonia? What is your take on those killings, sir?
No killings are justified, especially not killings between sister Ambazonian forces, if they are indeed sister Ambazonian forces. Guzang is of particular concern because we have had crimes there that at the limit are war crimes. I believe they may rise to the level of crimes against humanity. that first massacre in Guzang, it was also on a market day. And it looks
Right.
like when our people go out on a market day to try and do groceries and be set for the week, some people are going out to search for blood and to drink blood and to take out other people and take out people's lives. I am really very worried by it. I'm especially worried by the fact that after it happens, what you hear is a series of additional threats that are issued that they tell you, you know, we will not let this happen anymore, meaning basically, we will kill some more. You hear people say, we have just supplied a fresh load of weapons, meaning there's zero remorse. You hear people say they will hold people as traitors, including people in the diaspora, should they criticize the ADF and such activities. These people need to know that they do not impress anyone. We are not going to be frightened to declare and be very outspoken about war crimes and crimes against humanity. Whoever perpetrates those crimes, it does not have to be that we are condoning crimes that are committed by Ambazonians. When this war will be over, the perpetrators of these atrocity crimes, whether they are Ambazonians or they are citizens of La République du Cameroun, will answer for the crimes that they are committing. So there will be no excuse. I listened to the leader of AGOV-C and ADF on audio, and I was also exacerbated by it because he indicated that he does not speak when he's angry, which is a nice thing. But you cannot also speak to not address the issue of the hour, which is what he chose to do. We famously had, during the first massacre, a statement that said that it was a gunfire exchange went bad between sister forces. The trouble was that soldiers had their hands tied behind their backs, and they were shot together, they were executed at close range and piled together in a heap. So this does not look like a gun battle. We heard on this second audio that it was also a gun battle between sister forces. Why are these gun battles always happening? When they happen then, and you will suppose then that, you know, if it is sister forces, you will call it friendly fire.
Friendly fire.
So if it is friendly fire, you will show remorse. You will apologize. You will indicate to the people of Ambazonia that this happened out of military error, military, strategy error, whatever it was. But the messages that I've heard are messages that reaffirm that there is a state of impunity and immunity that people believe that they enjoy and can enjoy. And I am afraid that justice will catch up with them.
When it happens once, we can have the element of doubt in there. It happens twice, maybe. The third time, in the same town, the same local government, from the same source, it is difficult, very, very difficult to attribute it to friendly fire, especially as you put it, without any remorse. No, when it happened in Kurugwe, the AGOV-C leader, if he's actually a leader, of course he's a thuggish leader, he came out and doubled down on it by suggesting that he will cut off the heads of chiefs and hang them on trees. And he actually followed up on it, and he did that. Now, this guy continues to do this. I read the article you wrote over the weekend, and it was quite exclusive, where you mentioned the killings in the Bui, in which they claim they were their boys. But in the midst of which were French Cameroon forces. Now, nobody has seen their graves. Nobody knows whether anybody even died. Nobody has seen their graves anywhere. After how many months or almost a year, nobody has seen their graves. But again, I'm saying this to say that these things keep on coming from the same group, from the same people, and the leader behind continues to endorse it and brag about it. And that is the reason why I referred to him last week as Ambazonia's own Chief Buthelezi. Ambazonia's own Chief Buthelezi, that is his face on the screen. In Tumfon, the question that many Ambazonians are asking right now is, for how long do the leaders of this struggle like yourself tolerate this and just complain and just lament and just exchange words? Is that the only thing that can be done?
You know, there are some cowboy novels in those days where they said, you know, when it happens once, it's an accident. When it happens twice, it's coincidence. When it happens thrice, it is enemy action. We need to absolutely consider these things and determine a path that we need to follow to make sure that action is taken to punish perpetrators. So the action that is being pursued, whether it is against La République du Cameroun, or it is against militia fighting on behalf of La République du Cameroun, or it is against Fulani herdsmen coming in from Nigeria, hired by the Nigerian government or lent by the Nigerian government to La République du Cameroun to perpetrate crimes in places like Ngabu, or whether it's the CPDM, people like Jonathan Ngu you were mentioning a moment ago, people like Julius Achu, people like you know, the other one up in Kambe, Gerard Ngala. All these people are supposed to find themselves before the ICC, and we will do them the honor and pleasure to make sure that they appear before those instances. These crimes will be investigated. Nobody will get away from, you know, from perpetrating them and hoping that that nothing happens. So what I would say is that one of the most important things for us to do is to remember that stopping the crimes and stopping the hostility among forces will start by people taking down the temper a little bit, by people collaborating a little more, by people attacking each other a little less, by people accepting that we are in this war together, if we are indeed together. Now, it worries when you hear the people from Guzan tell you that when the attack happened, according to their accounts, that La République soldiers were supervising, La République soldiers were providing cover. You read all these accounts and you ask yourself, what is going on? Now, we know the Bui incident, which I referred to over the weekend, talking about the agent provocateur in Amis, who is Eric Tato. I was referring to that incident because I want people in Ambazonia to remember that the only person on earth who justified that there was a killing of 32 people in Bui was Eric Tato. It is a fabricated story, because in this day and this age, with cameras all over, with cell phones all over, it is impossible to kill 32 people in Bui and bury them in mass graves or in isolated graves or on marked graves, and there will be no pictures of
And
the
by the way,
of the people killed, the names of the people involved.
And by the way, we were told again and again for about 7 consecutive, if not 2 consecutive weeks, if not more, that their general Efang was among those killed.
Yeah,
They
he's suddenly
presented also some
resurrected.
fake pictures. Then suddenly he showed up. I think the
Well,
burden to prove where the other 20 something where they are lies on them, because they have never come back to say, oh, we are sorry. If I was actually
there,
alive. No, they have never.
there are there are nobodies. There are nobodies there. Look, when in the 1990s, Romania was falling. It was the beginning of the fall of the Soviet Union. When Romania was falling and there were killings in Timișoara, there was a campaign of propaganda. One of it insisted that outside Timișoara, there were mass graves all over the place. When there were international commissions constituted after Romania had fallen, they did not find the mass graves. This is part of the process of creating doubt about real massacres, which is what Eric Tato was doing over the weekend when he alleged that there was a mass grave in Munya with 176 bodies in it. Now, I do not say that there have not been people massacred. What I say is that when you have that kind of story as a journalist, you have to cross-check the information, fact-check the information, re-verify the information. And you either have to independently confirm the information or raise the doubt in the story. You do not circulate a story like that, because what that story does, and it is part of the role that Eric Tato is playing in this revolution, is to discredit Ambazonia and to discredit the claims of massacres. So he would use, when you take a case of
But in
journalists who
Tubufon,
are
let me
seized,
stop you a little bit there, because I am really amazed that you even take the time to talking about somebody whom we know is out there. He has an agenda to frustrate the revolution, and he calls himself a journalist. I don't call him a journalist, somebody who doesn't have the ability to tell the truth, a single truth. I mean, you have followed him in this struggle from day number one. This guy lacks what journalism wants, the ability to speak the facts and tell the truth. So I will never dignify him or mention him to give him any credit for what he does, good or bad. Let me give you a practical example. One day,
but I would tell,
I was sitting.
but I would tell you,
I'm coming to him for. Just give me a second here. Let me narrate this story. I'll get back to you. One afternoon, while I was at home, the young guy you are talking about, the irrelevant activist guy, was live. And you know what he does? He puts out fabulous, big, screaming headlines. Oh, this is the end of Chris Anu today. Bo Herbert is now done, blah, blah. You know how he screams those headlines. But that particular day, he had screamed one headline to the effect that he had a big breaking story from Sisiko. And he put it out there. He went live. While he was live, I got a call from Sisiko from Kondenge. And Sisiko said to me, please stop that guy. I have not spoken to him. I don't even know him. This way in the early days when they just got to Kondenge. Sisiko called me and said, please call that guy, stop him. I have not spoken to him. I don't even know him. I've met him only one time. That's what Sisiko said to me, please stop him. I picked up the phone and called the guy. He was already live. He couldn't pick the call. After the show, he called me and I said, listen, Sisiko is very, very mad at you for going out there, framing him up and telling people how you got a breaking story from him. The man is very, very... But I'm saying this to let you, Ambazonia, know this guy is a liar of all times as far as this revolution is concerned, and nobody should be patronizing him. Nobody for taking for anything. He is worthless. I mean, absolutely worthless, even in the eyes of La République de Cameroon. They will use him and dump him as they do with every one of their clients. Don't listen to, I mean, how do you call somebody a journalist and he comes and tells you he has 10 breaking stories and none is based on truth? They are all fabricated. Over to you, please.
Look, there are things that you pay attention to not because they are the truth. QAnon is out there. You pay attention to it not because it is the truth. White supremacy is out there. You pay attention not because, you know, black people are less human. You pay attention because they cause harm. Eric Tato is one of the worst enemies of Ambazonia. And his actions are totally in support of the regime of Mr. Biya, their most important target. The most important objective of the regime of Mr. Biya is to attack Ambazonia terrorists. And Eric Tato is the biggest link to establishing that. We spotted him from the very beginning. He was the first person to get Nyamfuka of the Week for five weeks running. And then we retired him to the Hall of Shame. And he has never stopped. Again, this is a guy who is a war criminal. It's not a joke. This is one of the people who should appear before the ICC to answer for their crimes, to answer for their calls for war crimes. This guy, whether he's hired by La République du Cameroun, again we say you do it whether you know it or not. Whether he's hired or not, he's working for La République du Cameroun. He's working for our enemy. He's working to paint Ambazonia as dark as possible. He's working so that everybody knows out there that we constitute a terrorist people. And that is one of the reasons, and I agree with you, you know, do not patronize him. Do not pay attention to him. But the rest of us
actually, you know that the only people that watch him nowadays are paid robots. You know how you get robots on your platform. Robots are watching you. They cannot comment. And by the time the show is over, you go and look at the viewers, and there are 5,000, there are 6,000. Yet you had your screen reading 2,000 people. 1,600 people watching you. But at the end of the show, you have 5,000. That is robotic, robot views. That is what he buys. Ladies and gentlemen, do not be deceived out there.
He does. I mean, the last announcement he was making was that he had 500,000 views on some, maybe a pornographic video. He puts up all kinds of stuff. But the truth is that he does not understand that there is a way to go to the back end of every website and to understand what is going on. This is what illiteracy does to people. That you think that you can cook up any kinds of lies and you can tell anybody. This is a game you play when you are out of a cave, when you don't understand how education works, how the worldwide internet works, and how you go behind to find out who is running what kind of contacts, where they logging in from, are these actual people or are these robots? All of this is known. So he can go back to I don't know, to Manfred Oversight and play those tricks there. But on the World Wide Web, we got you.
Well, going back to the subject of the killings in the Guzang, and let me put it in the broad-based manner, in the Mogamo LGA. What message, Tumfon, would you send to the leaders of that interim local government in the face of these murders again and again and again, only in their local government and from the same source? The person I call Chief Buthelezi of Ambazonia.
Look, the message is the same for everyone. Number one is you defend yourself against the enemy and against those that the enemy recruits to fight against you, whether they're your brothers or your sisters. This revolution will not be stopped because you looked at your own blood and they were the ones that were sent to come and kill you, and you decide, okay, it's my blood. No. we have to defend ourselves against, America says enemies known and unknown, foreign and domestic. That is the responsibility. Now, it is important also to make sure that we realize that the fighting, some of the fighting happens between units from the same, let me say, ethnic group. We're talking here about Mogamo. So it is instrumentalization of these people. It's weaponizing tribe. It is weaponizing young people against each other. And these things happen because people tie themselves up to their groups most solidly than they want to tie themselves up to Ambazonia. If people truly consider that this is a fight for Ambazonia, they will step back and they will say to themselves, we have a responsibility to the rest of Ambazonia to bring everybody home. No soldier left behind is supposed to be a slogan that we carry. One love is a slogan that we should carry. One for all for one is a slogan that we should carry. It cannot be that, that you start targeting your own. But when your own target you, please defend yourselves. Please recognize that they constitute a danger and take action.
Thank you. Let's move over to another subject, which is equally very, very important. And I am talking about these so-called regional elections that are being organized by La République du Cameroon in our territory. We have previously banned every form of polling in Ambazonia organized by La République du Cameroon, but they just seem not to get it. This time they came up with a cacophony called regional elections, something that is very, very foreign in any democracy. But we have since learned of all what this is about. It is about divide and conquer. When we joined La République du Cameroon, it was West Cameroon or former British Southern Cameroon versus La République du Cameroon. We had our institutions in Boya, the parliament, the House of Chiefs, the capital, everything, the president or prime minister, everything was in Boya, just as they have everything in Yaoundé. But they have left Yaoundé, they're now coming to split us apart. The House of Chiefs in Bamenda, the House of Chiefs in Boya, regional house in Bamenda, regional house in Boya. I don't know whether you have you've read within the lines to see what this is all about. What are you thinking about this?
We are back to the future, Comrade Chris. Back to the future. Let me explain what I mean. When the French were putting in place colonization across Francophone Africa, the system consisted of creating an elite, creating people who would be dignified somewhat by being made French people. And it consisted of raising a few people from among the indigents and telling them that they had become an elite and that they could belong in a particular club, a governing club that was an annexed club for the colonialists. In a place like Algeria, from 1954 to 1962, there were 550,000 Frenchmen. They were the only people who were allowed to vote for a while. And then after they decided that they wanted 1,100 Muslims of Algerian origin picked as an elite that would participate in some kind of election. And then they used those, 1,100 Muslims and, 550,000 French people to justify continued French colonization. This is what La République du Cameroun is doing here. You do not, and that's part of the trouble that we have, is that when they give the name election, then we call it election. It is not an election. There's no election going on in the Cameroons. There has never been an election in that country. Maybe the election in 1992, October 1992, was an election. But there has never been an election. You don't select between the CPDM and the CPDM in an election. There's no competition. For instance, the MRC and the SDF are boycotting this election. I don't call their names to say that they're important. There are 330 political parties in that place, because what Mr. Biya and the French want for themselves is what they call, administrative multipartism. They want to tick a box to say we have several political parties, everybody is free to form their political party. The purpose being to make sure that nobody then ever threatens the stranglehold on power that the ruling CPDM has got. So what is happening here is the local CPDM is picking some of its collaborators within Ambazonia so that they can give them some new position, some new rank. Now, they're doing it, and as you point out appropriately, they're doing it in the hope that when they're done with this, they can say, now we have a special status because we have set up a house of chiefs in the northern zone and we have set up a house of chiefs in the southern zone. Now, it has nothing to do with La République du Cameroon. It all has to do with those who within Ambazonia claim to be citizens of La République du Cameroon, or who decide to be collaborators or enablers of the colonization, whether they are chiefs or they are fawns. There is no place in Ambazonia for chiefs and fawns and whoever else, councillors, to sit in an institution set up by the colonizers to say they are going to lord it over our people on behalf of the colonizers. You are by extension immediately saying that you are part of that colonization. That is what you are decreeing. And
Right.
for chiefs and fawns who are selected by biology, you are running down your fawndom and your chiefdom. You are burying your chiefdom. I can tell you that, because you are not going to be able to rise up. Those who have tried it have found themselves with their kingdoms, they have found themselves internally displaced chiefs. Do not do it. Do not please any government. You are not elected by a government. You have been elected by biology. And our people respect that contract so long as you respect yourself. If you do not, you will find out very soon that there is no leg on which to stand in your own kingdom.
Yes, Tom Fine. Let's also dive a little bit into this chieftaincy thing, because one of the questions that many people begin to ask is, who is even a chief in Ambazonia, even La République du Cameroon nowadays? When we talk of chiefs, we talk of people like the Fawn of Bafut, the Fawn of Bale, the Fawn of Com, the Fawn of Fontem, the Fawn of Bamambu. I mean, all these natural fawns. But we have people who have bought titles like the Tabe Tandos claiming to be fawns or chiefs. And it is intriguing that these are the same people who bought their titles who will be coronated into these so-called houses of chiefs in the northern and the southern zones. Are our people really realizing what is being done here? Because anybody who appointed a chief is responsible, is loyal to who appoints him or her. This is what is a problem, one of the problems in this arrangement.
There's what we are witnessing here is something that comes from the background of Mr. Paul Biya Bimvondo. When you visit the South and you notice that, families constitute their own kingdoms, that they live in these, clearings in the forest where, they basically intermarry among themselves, and the family head is a chief. Then when the administration shows up, what they call the administration shows up, and recognizes one of these people, we have an example of the old man and the medal. This is what is happening here. One of the first things that Mr. Biya did very quickly to the chiefs in the south and then expanded to the center and the east and all that was to immediately give them uniforms similar to the uniforms that are worn by the colonial SDOs and DOs. Let me remind you that these uniforms are the uniforms of the French army that invaded our territory, invaded the Cameroons, and occupied it. These people took over the gear of these soldiers that occupied our territory. So you will see someone like Lele Lafrique, when he is in his official gear, he is wearing the uniform of the French colonial army, because that is the mentality. And the chiefs that you hear mentioned, chiefs that are used as auxiliaries of the administration, as they call them, those chiefs are supposed to fit into that mold, into the mold of people who are supposed to act like colonial forces. And that is how Ambazonians should treat them. They are part of a military system, even if they are the civilian end of the military system. They are military targets because they are directly supervising the process of the genocide that is unfolding in Ambazonia right now. And this whole process of putting vanish, trying to put something to the shop window, to window dress the fact that it is somehow democracy because there was an election. No, it is not democracy. This is about Mr. Biya recruiting again an elite whose responsibility is to act as enabler for the colonization project that they have in place. And the people of Ambazonia, they know every one of these people. And every one of these people should know that they will not know peace. If they decide that the choice is to go out and sell their people and sell generations of Ambazonia and betray generations of Ambazonia because they believe that we should live through colonial domination and recolonization by La République du Cameroun.
Well, you are absolutely on point, and we will leave that day. I hope that Ambazonians have gotten the picture and they gotten the message. All what we are trying to do is to educate Ambazonians to know what is being done over there is window dressing as usual. Window dressing as usual. La République is trying at all costs to conduct this election, send a message to the whoever cares that they have a handle over the crisis, over the conflict. They are in charge. They are trying to manage affairs. No need for dialogue, no need for negotiations. That is what all this is all about. Let's talk a little bit about this monologue on what the Bamileke chiefs they are trying to do. Tumfa, I don't know whether you got the point. I don't know whether you listened to all of it, but all what the Bamileke chiefs are trying to do is all about Maurice Kamto. People don't see that. It's all about Maurice Kamto and a safer zone for themselves. They know Ambazonia is the only place they will have to resort to or run to after the Bulu Beti Ewondo clan has pushed them out of that territory. They will come running back to Ambazonia as they did in the 50s and in the 60s. And all they do is try to keep Ambazonia. Now, Bamileke chiefs are saying to Ambazonian chiefs, it is time you use voodoo to end this thing. Yet, when Bamilekes were being chased out of Beti land, we didn't see voodoo over there. They say, oh, the military has reached its limit. Ambazonian chiefs should do something. Well, maybe I should credit them for even saying something when our own indigenous chief are just running to Yaoundé and hiding there and trying to rush back, sneak in there like Fonembinglo to cast a vote and become a regional House member, House of Chiefs member. But it is funny that the Bamileke chiefs are voicing their voice now when they were the ones who first gathered to donate funds for Ambazonians to be killed when this thing first escalated. Now, their son is supposed to have won an election. And like John Frundi, he's not being given the victory. Now, Bamilekis are saying, let's try to end this. Let's find a way. Let's just find a way. The chiefs, you can do something. You know, all those concoctions that and initiations that you can do to bring this thing to an end. Please, please do it. You think they are doing so because they love us? I'll let you finish this into point. I see you're a spy there. I know there is something in your mind.
Yeah. You know, our Bamileke neighbors, they are my in-laws, they should never forget, that we granted them safe haven. We granted them sanctuary, some place for them to shelter when the Ahidjo regime just wanted to kill every one of them. When the French from 1955 to 1971 killed 800,000 of them. What we are saying to the Bamilekes is in fact valid for other tribes across La République du Cameroon, because all the other tribes do not belong. The Republic of Cameroon is in fact the Republic of Fang Bulubeti. That is what the Republic is. There's no one else who counts. So if you are not Fang Bulubeti, and even then, if you are not a member of the class that they have picked as a governing class among the Fang Bulubeti people, forget it. You are not part of that country. You are all victims of that whole system. So when Bamileke chiefs start thinking that they belong, when somebody like Professor Maurice Kamto starts thinking that he belongs, when he starts thinking that the French will show, you know, the gates to the palace to him, that is when illusions are haunting you. That is when you have not understood how occultic the system that is in place is. That is how much you have not understood that the place is run by mafiosos. You have not understood that the France-Afrique cult and the France-Afrique criminals running the place have no intention to democratize it. They have no intention to find anyone who is not a stooge, and they have no intention to grant room to any other ethnic group. Now, the Bamileke people, because they are next door neighbors, they should be the ones telling the rest of La République du Cameroon what the reality is. And this reality has not been created by the people of Ambazonia. I heard you in your monologue say very appropriately that because they could come to Ambazonia and find sanctuary, it was because we are our own country. They could not hide in another place. When they could not go and hide in Betua, they would be found out. Prime Minister Ngomjua made sure that they would have protection. And when they got massacred in places like Tombel, the government of Southern Cameroon showed its indignation toward when Ahidjo crossed the border into Southern Cameroon. He reminded himself in speeches that he had no business meddling in the internal affairs of Southern Cameroon. These are in speeches that he made that everybody can consult at any time. And Bamileke people who do business on all corners of the earth will know that when you cross the border from Nkombu into Matasm, when you cross that border, One of the most important things that you find at that border is that you find a custom checkpoint.
Right.
When you go to Bamenda Up Station, there's another custom checkpoint because you are entering a new country. When you
In
come
Tumfo,
on the Douala
that thing
Yaoundé or
really
Douala
intrigued
Bamenda,
me when recently, I remember passing through those custom points in Upstation, Bamenda, Matazam, Bamenda, then at the Mongo.
on
At
Tico.
the Mongo,
Yeah,
you have those
yeah,
custom points. But you don't
yeah,
find a custom checkpoint leaving Yaoundé to Bafoussam. You don't find a
yeah.
custom checkpoint leaving Douala to Yaoundé. Neither do you find one leaving the north of that country to maybe Garoua, to maybe Marawa, to maybe Yaoundé. None. But when you are entering the southern Cameroons, you find a custom checkpoint at the Mongo. You find one at Matazem, which are the boundaries that separate both of us. Isn't it
Yeah.
intriguing? How
It,
can the world say Ambazonia is not a country?
every
What are those
diplomat,
checkpoints doing there if we are not a country?
every diplomat based in Yaoundé knows that the reality of crossing borders when you come into southern Cameroon, that reality is there. It has been there from 1953 when our people moved out of Nigeria. It has always been there. When our people traveled into La République du Cameroun, they had to have a laissez-passer. These Bamileke people who had to come to us to find shelter, they came with a laissez-passer. So it is not as if this is being invented. It is right there in your face. And if you go to the three northern regions, almost everything that you have in the three northern regions, from Fanta to Coca-Cola to fuel that you buy, is coming from next door Nigeria. There are no custom posts between Ngaoundere and Garwa and Marwa. There are none. The reasons you have custom posts is confirmation that Southern Cameroon is its own country. And so Bamileke people who want to do business and will be able to do business in Ambazonia, the same as they can do it in, Cote d'Ivoire. I've seen them in Cote d'Ivoire, in Senegal. You see them in France. You see them here in the United States. They know what you have to respect. If you pay honors today to the colonizers, you will pay a price tomorrow. That is certain. There is no escaping it. So your business, as a businessman, you have nothing to do with all this business of colonizing a people. And when you go out and you're contributing money, supposedly for recovery, supposedly for helping the people of Southern Cameroon, Atanganji Paul went out and put a plate and put a cap, and they put millions and millions of francs CFA into that plate. People said they were going to reconstruct Sacred Heart College, and people poured millions. All of that money went into buying sardine for the people who are committing genocide across Ambazonia, buying bullets for those people, paying their salaries, paying their mission allowances. So when Bamileke chiefs start contributing money, when they get misled by Elele Lafrique in Bamenda into thinking that, somehow, because our brother is the colonial governor, we are going to get protection, they are in fact leading you to your death. You have no business with the politics of the people of Ambazonia. And nobody who is not Ambazonian has any right to tell the people of Ambazonia what their destiny should be. And that includes people from La République du Cameroun and people from other countries, people from the United States or Canada or the United Kingdom. They have no business telling the people of Ambazonia what their future should be. That can only be determined by the people of Ambazonia. And it is very clear that when we got a resolution from the United Nations for independence, it was not care of La République du Cameroun. It was not. That is part of the reason why the vote for independence occurred on the 21st of April 1961, and the arrangement for joining, so the international treaty that should have been signed between the two independent nations of Southern Cameroon and La République du Cameroon, that international treaty should have been signed between the 21st of April 1961 and the 1st of October 1961 and registered with the United Nations General Secretariat under Article 110. The fact that it was not done means there were no negotiations, there was no deal. And the only deal that exists is the one that put together two states equal in status, each with their Independence Day, each with their right to self-determination, which they will never lose.
Well, thank you for that articulation there, Ntumfon. I will say the last word to these Bamileke chiefs and the Bamileke elite. There is no doubt that the people who will benefit the most in La République du Cameroun after we have actualized our independence are these same Bamilekes. The same Bamilekes. They are referred to in La République du Cameroun as the Igbos of that country. And I think if they are truly concerned, worried per the articles of the chiefs, I think what they should be doing is coming to us and asking, how can we help you? How can we assist you? You assist us, we get back our country as you know it. We will open the borders for you. You will be our best neighbors. We will help you. We will assist you. After all, who rejects capitalism, where that brings employment and brings prosperity for the people? That is what Ambazonia is going to be. And I want to appeal to the Bamilekes. Your senators have failed us. Your House Speaker, our Senate leader, Nyet Njifenji, is one of you from Bangante. He has not done anything to help Ambazonia, not as much as call for a hearing, but the killings in Ambazonia. Your politicians, the senators, parliamentarians, they have failed us. And the prescription that the chiefs are putting out there isn't a solution either. The solution is to rise up and join your voices with ours to say to the international community, allow the Ambazonians to go. And when we go, you can rest assured, you will be our best friends. But until you begin to demonstrate that, and manifest that, we won't take you seriously. Ntumfon, since you wanted to add something there.
Yeah, no, I was just going to jump in to say something. And the Bamilekes know very well that there's no other place in all of the Cameroons where they are allowing Bamileke people to feel full citizens and to occupy positions, including positions of mayor. Right. They are not discriminated against. The place where they're the most welcome is in Ambazonia and in Douala. These two places. So they cannot spit or bite the finger that is feeding them. Now, if you want to support the people of Ambazonia, you may. But if you don't, you will still support them because there will be a tax. Post-independence, there will be a tax if you have not supported our revolution, if you have not supported our struggle. You will pay in arrears.
Absolutely.
You will. The reason you pay taxes is because the government of Ambazonia, the people of Ambazonia, allow you to make money. And you recognize that environment that has been created by supporting those people and the institutions they want from themselves. So if you want to support now, fine. If you don't want to, you will pay in arrears and with interest.
Thank you, Tumfoin. I will now open the phone lines for any calls. Any calls you are out there, you want to contribute to the show. Please, you have the phone line on your screen, but before you call, you make sure the volume of your set is turned down so there is no echo or waiting for you to hear me or me to hear you. So make sure that before you call, you turn down the volume of your set. Don't find, this custom thing really amazes me because look at this. How can the international community even debate? And of course, it adds to the fact that, to the reason why French Cameroon may never want to go to the negotiation table to talk about a form of state. Because just imagine, you pay custom duties when you are doing imports and exports, or maybe not imports actually. Now, when you are entering Ambazonia from Nigeria, you have a custom post. You are entering Ambazonia from La République du Cameroon, be it in the southern zone or northern zone, you have custom post. If we were not a separate country, how come we have these custom posts everywhere, every border in Ambazonia? But you don't have one. Just imagine, you don't have one going into La République. You only have one entering our territory from La République. I mean, our case is clearer and clearer, much more than anyone else could see it. Go on, please.
It is not only the recognition of the country. It is not only the recognition that Ambazonia is a separate country. There's a second aspect to that. In South Africa, when they set up the apartheid regime, they decided to build Bantustans, places where they would lock native people and keep them behind those places where they would live in squalor, in ghettos and all that. The Northwest and Southwest were designed as Bantustans because the entire system, don't forget, the entire crime that the people of Ambazonia have suffered through has been a crime of apartheid. It has been a crime that has said, exactly as in South Africa for the black people of South Africa, that you don't have the same economic rights, you don't have the same social rights, you don't have the same political rights, you don't have the right to rise to the same offices, you cannot occupy certain positions. That is apartheid. Then they build a Bantustan and they ring fence it with custom services that oblige you, once you are leaving Bamenda and headed into Nkombu, they consider that you're coming from Nigeria. They consider you're coming from another country. And so they treat you that way. It prevents you from circulating any capital. It prevents you from amassing any wealth. It prevents you from doing business with the rest of the entities across the country. That is how they imposed on you Francophone businesses. That is the same system that they set up when they denied the possibility, despite the airport existing in Bamenda, despite the airport existing in Tiko, where they oblige you to land at Douala Airport. They oblige you to land at Yaoundé Airport. That is why they denied you a connection road between the northern zone and the southern zone. It had to take the African Development Bank building what they call a Trans-African road for there to be a road linking the two. The purpose is to reduce you economically, politically, socially, and tie you down to an apartheid system, which is a crime against humanity and has been practiced in the worst way possible in Ambazonia. When we saw the massacre in Kumba, this was the repeat of the Sharpeville massacres that were linked to education reforms requested by the people, the black people of South Africa. Everything is in all of these ingredients that La République du Cameroon is putting in place. And it is important for the people of Ambazonia to recognize what it is that is happening. and to recognize what crime is being committed against them. So yes, there's genocide, but that genocide, the foundation for that genocide, the foundation for dehumanizing the people of Ambazonia, the foundation for leading them into economic, social, and political deprivation was laid on an apartheid system where your language is second class, where you as a citizen is second class, where you have no possibility to aspire to the same political steps of fulfillment as another citizen who happens to be French speaking.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Ntumfoin. Let's get to the phones. Right now, I have the first caller calling from Ground Zero. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello?
Yes, may I know where you are calling from, please?
Yeah, I am calling from Bui County.
Okay. And what is going on there, sir? What do you have in your mind?
Hello, I am calling from Bui County.
Yes.
Hello?
And what do you have to contribute today?
I want to appreciate you coming on.
Yes, I can hear you. Go on.
Uh, yeah. I'm just. I want to appreciate the education that you are. I want to appreciate the education that you are giving us on Ground Zero.
Thank you.
Without this education, we would not have been moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying that I want to appreciate the education that you're giving us, which is a great thing for us to benefit from here on Ground Zero.
Thank you.
What we know is that Biafra's government is an occultic government, and all their plans to sabotage what we are doing will go in vain, because we have passed across that stage of deception. And so no matter whatever strategies they put across, it will not work with us here on Ground Zero, because we have taken our stand to be behind the interim government. So we want to appreciate you. Keep educating us so that we know where we are going and what we have as an objective to reach where we are going. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for the call. God bless and remain safe, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. The phone line remains open, ladies and gentlemen. I see lots of you are trying to call. We will do our best to take as many calls as possible. Let me get to the next caller here. Hello. Hello.
Hello, Secretary Chris.
Hello. Good evening, sir. May I know where you are calling in from, please?
Yes, I'm calling from Mezam County.
Mezam County. Thank you. How was Ghost Town there today?
Yeah, the ghost town was perfect as usual.
Thank you.
Things are remaining the same. Yeah, things are remaining the same. There is no change. There is no way. We are understanding.
I learned that in Quen still remains very stubborn, though.
Yeah, I'm a bit far from that, areas. I will still have to investigate, but all this while it's very difficult for us to cross from the Mitakwata neighboring hood to that area, so I can't really give any information about Quen. But then on the tomorrow I'm going to do that, because I will go downtown tomorrow. I will know whether that yesterday they still or they don't still keep the ghost town well.
Okay. All right. So what is your contribution today, sir?
Yes, I want to talk about Ayaba specifically, our own Chibutelezi in the Ambazonian land. See,
Okay.
it's a problem. This is the third time or the fourth. This is the third time or the fourth time he is carrying these atrocities against our people. I don't know why we stay to watch this. If that area has not gotten good military stand, good weaponry, why should some other local governments do some collective work by sending soldiers, the restoration forces in their great number there to overcome Ayaba and his, group. Because let me tell you, Secretary Chris, before we chase the rats out of our house, we should first sweep our house clean.
Right.
So as to see where they can hide, so that we get rid of them. But then, if we keep Ayaba and his remnant alive, they keep on killing our people, I don't see why some other counties or local government should not, at least like the field marshal Awapa, should do something. They should, bring guys, do some selective works and send there. So that, in fact, we should...
You see, comrade, thanks for saying that. But let me tell you, I don't think the problem of Mogamo is that they don't have boys or that they don't have money. I think their problem is organization. Mogamo, I think they have more than 600 fighters in that local government alone. Mogamo raised the largest amount during the drive. It is not their problem, it's not money, it's not manpower, it is organization, perhaps divisions too. So,
yes,
go on,
let
please.
me come in, let me say a little thing. Let me say a little thing about that, Secretary Chris. That's the reason for why I say some other persons who are well organized should come in. I was not only talking of the, the financial perspective or the manpower, or I know they have the manpower, they have the finances. But if we understand that, or if we have understood that they are incapable, to do a good job, therefore we should do something better to send in some other intelligence, some other great men who coordinate them. And we pull out this we pull out this Ayaba and his group. And let me tell you something. Look, I'm a spiritual fighter the last time I told you. See, I'm not taking up any arm against La Republique, but I shall take it up when Ayaba shall enter Amazonian land. I'm speaking as a Mancon, a native person. And I have collective ideas from my relatives, from the Mancon people about Ayaba. Let Ayaba know that the day he shall step his leg in the Amazonian land, we are going to unroot him and his remnant, and he is not going to exist.
But he is there by proxy already.
Thank you. Where is he in no way? That word no way simply means no way for him. Let me tell him that the killings he's carrying on and giving advantage to our invaders, he will go on him and his generation. He's going to drink his own blood, eat his own excrement. He's going to find it very difficult in his life, because we over here, we really feel it very bad when we see our boys killed in a very mysterious manner, and not by La République du Cameroon. We know that La République du Cameroon can never reach any of our soldiers without an insider, without somebody of Ambazonia who is giving them information and who is working for them. We know that if it comes to the fact that La République should fight our soldiers, it's a fallacy. They can't kill any of our soldiers. I can quote a few generals we have lost so far since the war began. General Ivor, many other ones. Cho Ayaba is behind, and we are monitoring him. Let him tell you, there are great men here. We just can't produce over there. There are great men here at home waiting for him. He should be aware, if he is listening, wherever he is found in the world, he should know that on the ground there are people waiting for him. We have long suffered in the hands of La République, and this we don't want it to continue. But if he is there doing that, he should know he has no ground to stand. And let me go further the issue of the funds. See, we are smart. We know already what Bia and his remnants are doing. When Bia took office, that was the first thing he did. He made himself the funds of fund. It's a continuation of something we have already known. He has been manipulated. There is nothing new except an embezzler will not understand it. We on the ground, we know, even up to the oldest person in the Amazonian knows that Bia is the fund of funds, is the chief of chiefs. What he is going to do can never be democratic, because he is going only to call in people who support him, and so on. So with the Bamileke people or the so-called funds, it's the same manipulation. The Bamilekes can never accept us gain our independence, because they know this is where they are comfortable, where they are not being brutalized. They feel very free. they know if we take our country, they may be considered as foreigners, and they will never really rule us. They will never ever have lands as we do have, and so on. So they cannot really accept that. So you should put that in mind. So we should forget about them. We are smart. We are technically powerful than them. Psychologically we are good. Industrially we are good. There are people, when you cross my time, you go to one way, you know that in another country. When you see the types of furniture, you see the way they construct, you see the way they do things, you understand that they are a different people and we are a different people. So
All right.
you should understand that. You should understand that Bia's strategy has failed, my brother. Bia's strategy has failed, and he is not going to successfully divide us and rule us anymore.
All right. Thank you for the call. I will have to stop it there so I can get others to call. Thank you for the contribution, sir.
Thank you. Later on.
All right. Your point is taken. I hope Ambazonians got you. Don't phone. If you have anything to add there in 50 seconds before we get the next caller.
Well, just to add that, when you hear these calls from Ground Zero, they're most encouraging. They tell you the extent to which people are vigilant. They tell you the extent to which people are committed. And they also reconfirm to you the fact that we have won the most important war, which is the war of hearts. Our people have understood why they must fight, why they should rise, why they should resist, why they should never ever grant consent to be recolonized, to be dominated. And because we have won those hearts, La République du Cameroun can do all of their military cinema. They will not win any victory of a military nature because there is no victory to be won at the military level. And I'm glad that he touched on the issues of, Mogamo and talked to Brother Choi about directly. As a leader in this revolution, there's no need to create enmity. There's no need to have people thinking evil about you when you say that your purpose is to work for your people. You have to find a way to get back to your senses or to the basics and to work together with other people. Otherwise, they say you dig your grave sometimes.
All right, let's get to the next caller here, also calling from Ground Zero. Hello, sir.
Good evening, Secretary Chris.
Good evening, sir. May I know which county you are calling from, please?
I'm calling from Victoria.
You are calling from Victoria. How was Ghost Town in Victoria today?
It wasn't on my liking, but we all understand the way people in Victoria behave. But I will not blame the bike riders who are going out to the street. But I blame the landlord and everything. So when the landlord are harassing the tenant, but they all want to go to the street to go and walk so that they will be unable to pay their dues.
Why are the landlords harassing the tenants? Why? Why only in Victoria?
Because they believe things are working in Victoria. So that is the only thing they can do. Because things are not really moving here, but they need money also. That's why.
So what you are saying is Ghost Town was there, but not as effective as in other towns.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for that information. So what is your contribution today?
No, I just wanted to greet and appreciate the good work you have been doing, Secretary. I'm the only person who have been calling for today to inform you about the. You should forward my number to the Victoria coordinator. I don't know where he's the combat who I don't really know his name, but I want you to forward my number to him.
Okay. Well, send me a message. So if you don't send me a message, I have so many callers coming in, I will not know which number called to be able to forward it to the person you want. But if you send me a little message, I read it, I will forward your number. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Let's get to the next caller. Oh, this is ground zero. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir. May I know where you are calling from, please?
Good evening to you, Secretary Priest.
Good evening, sir. Where are you calling from? Which county? Or which town or city? Hello? Banga, Bakundu. Good to hear your voice, sir. How was Ghost Town in there today in Bakundu?
I'm calling from Banga Bakundu in Mbonge local government area.
Okay, how was Ghost Town Day in Mbonge today?
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you hear me? I'm sorry, you have a very bad network. Let's get to the next caller. Let's see where they are calling from. Hello. Hello.
Oh, good afternoon, Secretary Chris.
Good afternoon, sir. May I know where you are calling in from, please?
This is your friend Gene calling from Chicago.
Oh, yeah. Good to hear your voice, sir. How is Chicago today? The land of the Libras.
Hello, we are there. Amen. We are there, hanging in there.
Okay.
I just want to appreciate you and people as usual for the good job that you guys are doing. And when you mentioned something about this custom thing, I'm old enough. I'm from Santa, by the way. As to cross Matasm, the first land to your right, that's a family land all the way. So I know way too much about this. I'm in my 50s, and I'm old enough to have seen my mother using laissez-passer to cross Matasm to go a few blocks to go and work a farm. And this happened up to, I believe, 72 or past 72. And now, another issue that I don't understand, those of us who are in our 50s, from Ambazonia don't even understand. There were so many things that showed that we were two different countries. Even me, without knowing the history, I saw these things. One being, in my part of Santa, 70% are from Bamileke.
You know, Gene, what they tried to do was to erase everything that identified us as a unique people. They tried to erase the language. They tried to erase the legal system. They tried to erase the educational system. But little things like those custom posts and those pillars that separate us, they forgot to take them off. Now, it is incumbent upon them to let us know why, if we are a single and one and indivisible country, there are custom posts at the boundaries of the two territories, isn't it?
Yeah, but Chris, let me tell you a small story about that custom checkpoint in Santa. My mom, who just passed a few months ago, I took a refrigerator from here in a container, paid custom duty in Douala, and when we were transporting it in Santa, they stopped us at the custom post in Matasm that we had to pay custom duty. I was not there, my mom was there. My mom ended up paying 370,000 francs. And before that was released to her. I was so angry, I wanted to start a war, start a fight.
What year was that?
Another issue about this accumulator was there. This was about about 5 years ago.
Okay.
This was about 4 or 5 years ago. And when people are talking about this, is deep in my heart, because they are not all the Bamileke that are in Santa. They know they came because they were running from Makiza. I remember when we were little, we were calling it through Makizas. You understand? When
Yes.
somebody says say Makiza, we knew they were foreigners, but they embraced us. And another issue, I went to technical school, government technical high school in Kumba. My brother, when I went to that school, every teacher that taught us was francophone except the
teachers that were teaching English. Every teacher that taught us anything technical was in French. Those who could manage pidgin will try to break a little bit. So we graduated from that place at our own. Some of us were privileged to have had relatives in the French side with time there during holidays and pick one or two French. So when this people started in 2016, we suffered. We from the technical education have suffered over the years. So this issue about we being one country, I don't understand. If we are one country, why were these people running across Matazin to come and seek refuge in Santa? If we were one country, they would have chased them, right?
Exactly, yeah. If we were one country, Ahito would have chased them out of Santa Akuma and all those areas, Kumba, Victoria, and so on. But listen, thanks for the call. Yes, thanks for the call. Let's see what others have to say. Too funny, surely have something to add here.
Thank you.
No, I'm just amazed. I'm glad that our people are picking up these lines, are understanding why it is that what we are doing is totally justified. They should not be intimidated by anything. Again, you have to ask yourself, how is it possible that our people, after 44 years of false and failed experiment to convert us into Nigerians, how did we in 1953 walk away without a war? Why did Nigeria, which considered us one and part of their one and indivisible, not come after us with war to insist that we continue to belong? That it would justify today, 59 years since La République du Cameroon started their own experiment of trying to make us Cameroonians, that today they think they are going to impose it by force of arms. The people of Ambazonia need to understand one thing. The international community wants our people to show very clearly that what we want is our country. The international community is afraid to jump in and then hear people like Simon Munzu who will start saying, well, they are behaving like they colonize us for the third time, but what we need is a conference of Anglophones. There have been already many conferences of Anglophones. They don't solve the problem. So look, I'm delighted that the people on Ground Zero know exactly where they're going, that they are focused, that they are keeping the march going forward. And I love the fact that they're flagging these things, because Bamileke people we have hosted, who have become Ambazonians, who want Ambazonian nationality, should know that the ticket to that citizenship of Ambazonia consists of supporting the Ambazonian people. I was on French language radio and television yesterday, and I told them, you yourself are not an independent country. You are governed by France as a province of France. Try and free yourselves and stop bothering about whether we are one and indivisible. We have never been one and indivisible. We will not be. Focus on getting your own independence. Focus on getting the French out of your country, out of your business, out of your financial system. And stop bothering about Ambazonia, because Ambazonia will be well.
All right. Thank you, Tumfoin. Let's get the next caller here. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Sweden.
Okay, and what is in your mind, sir?
Yeah, the last caller that called was talking about the bundle of the Southern Cameroon and the La Republic.
Right.
And what he was trying to say was really true, because if you go to Tombel, when I was a young guy, my grandfather and my father, when they were working in the CDC plantation, the bundle are there in the Southern Cameroon. They call it sand pit. When you go there, you will see the custom between Lum and Tombel. You go to a bubu, where those heavy massacre was done there, that they were killing Bamileke during the war between the La Republic, when they were chasing Bamileke out of La Republic. you will see at Ebubu, you see those pillars there, where the CDC, the boundary between the La Republic, between Southern Cameroon.
You know,
All those pillars are there.
I forgot about Loom and Ombe. So you actually have a custom post at that end too, entering.
Yes, there was a custom post. Even right now, when you go, you see those houses, those old buildings. The custom posts are there. You see, you like maybe you come into a country, you see there's a vast area. The house are not built there. If you go there, you will see those houses. Even this Dangote has a sand pit there that they take gravel from there. They go there to make those cement. Dangote has some. I think those guys that drove Dangote lorry, because Dangote was saying he was about to give money for them to arrange the road from Loom to Kumba. But the La Republic told him to give the money. He refused to give the money. They want to arrange the road. He refused because of it. He want to. That sand pit is still there. But those guys have drove all the lorry, because I knew they burned a lorry when this strike was on. They burned Dangote lorry, almost 4 or 5 lorry. The lorry was down. They burned it all down. Because the sand pit, in Tombel, if you ask it where, you will see then you go to Ibubu. In that very place in Tombel, you still see the boundary between the La Republic and Southern Cameroon. All those things are there. If you go even to Mongo Bridge, you see all those boundaries are there. Why are they refusing?
Thank you. That is additional evidence. We are surrounded everywhere with custom posts indicating our sovereignty, our nationality. Thank you.
That is it. That is it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we will call it a day here. It's been a long day. And Tumfoin, if you have the last word, please go on.
I'm going to touch on one small topic. I think you mentioned it in your monologue. It has to do with soccer, with football.
Yes.
And it is important for the people of Ambazonia to know that we are working on submitting an application for Ambazonia to be admitted as a member of the Confederation of African Football and as a member of the Federation of International Football Association, FIFA. This process is a process that football teams in Ambazonia should support. So teams like Pideri Bamenda should support them. The reason that this process is a little easier than other processes is that if you take even a country like Tanzania, remember that Zanzibar was merged into Tanzania without independence. But Zanzibar has a delegation to the Confederation of African Football. They can have their own teams play along the teams of Tanzania. As everyone knows, the United Kingdom is a country, but they have teams of their own. Scotland plays as its own team. England plays as its own team. Ireland plays as their own team. So it's important for our teams in Ambazonia to know that this process is ongoing and for them to stand ready to be affiliated to the Ambazonian Federation and not continue to be associated with the colonizers' Federation of Football. And then, since I'm closing, let me just say that it is a great pleasure to join you all the time, Secretary Chris. It is a great pleasure to know that our people are motivated to the extent to which we hear them when they call us from ground zero. We know the extent and the risk that they take in order even to connect, in order to hear these programs, knowing the extent to which undercover agents, secret police, and all the other enablers are working all around them. We appreciate the sacrifice that they are making. We appreciate the courage that they are showing. We asked them, I heard you use the right word there at the beginning of the program. This is about packing patience. Please do not allow La République du Cameroon to discourage you by coming to you and saying nobody is recognizing Ambazonia. They cannot show you the example of one single country that got recognition within the period in which Ambazonia has been battling right now. The determination of our people is what will take us there. And please remember that the progress you're making has not been seen with any other territory before. We have pointed this out with respect to the negotiations and the international community supporting negotiations. I have also pointed out to the people of Ambazonia that when you see La République du Cameroon itching to implement what they call the special status, you should know what time it is. And I ask you to go and look at the history of East Timor. And you will see that when the people of East Timor declared their independence in 1975, Indonesia was desperate to keep them as part of Indonesia in 1997. That is when Indonesia introduced special status, and the people of East Timor rejected it. And 2 years after, the United Nations laid the table to consider independence for East Timor, and they became independent in 2002. Please recognize these signs. When the colonizer is crumbling and is begging you with crumbs from their table, know that the time has come for you to show total rejection for whatever they're offering you. Because the time has come for the international community to sit you at that table of negotiations, and La République du Cameroon to be found completely wanting to prove any case before you. Do not listen to the series of diplomats who are showing up, from the U.S. Undersecretary for African Affairs to the High Commissioner for Canada to the Home Office in London, who will show up and tell you that they recognize only one and indivisible Cameroon. You know, there was also one and indivisible Soviet Union. There are now 15 countries out of it. There used to be a one and indivisible Ethiopia. Eritrea has been carved out of it. There used to be a one and indivisible Sudan. South Sudan has emerged from there. Indonesia has not prevented the birth of East Timor. So do not get discouraged, including by people who will use the title of former assistant, special envoy of the Secretary General to Cote d'Ivoire, to tell you that from the moment that you voted in the plebiscite in 1961, it means that you foreclosed on your right to self-determination. You've heard Dr. Simon Munzo say that to you. That is not true. You have a right. You granted a mandate for a union to be established. That union has collapsed, like the union of the Soviet Union collapsed, like the union with Senegal and Gambia collapsed, like the union between Egypt and Syria collapsed. And when those unions collapse, your country re-emerges. So please take courage, continue to fight on. For our Bamileke people who are based in Ambazonia, many of them who are itching to have Ambazonian nationality, join our struggle, fund our struggle. And for Francophones of La République du Cameroun, if you want to get rid of Mr. Biya, please do that in a hurry. Start doing your work. And if you want an ally tomorrow, support the people of Ambazonia. If you want a place where you can go for political asylum because your country is not a place, it is a prison, you support the people of Ambazonia. You will have a free country besides you, where you are going to be able to know the same kind of safe haven that the people of Bamileke land knew when Southern Cameroons existed. And I'd like to thank you, Secretary Chris, and thank our people on Ground Zero, and say God bless Ambazonia.
Thank you, Dunfoyne. It's a pleasure, always a pleasure to have you here. I hope you recover quickly and get back to work. Thank you.
Corona won't catch us. It won't keep us down. There's no way.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is all that we have for you today. But before I go, I just want to remind all of you on Ground Zero again that starting December 4th through the 7th, complete lockdown of Ambazonia. Stock your homes with food items, with drinks, with medication. Only medical emergencies shall be allowed to go outside or to reach the hospital. So please, we have given you enough time to plan for this. Again, that is starting this weekend, December the 4th. Let me also remind all of you out there who have not yet downloaded the ABC app. The ABC app is out there. You can watch ABC anywhere and at any time. Anywhere and at any time. And actually, when you are home with your Android phone, you can watch ABC on your television. There's a button on the app that you can just hit, and it will transfer the images, the video to your television, and you'll be watching it like you're watching, like anybody else watching on satellite television. We are still working on the iOS version, Apple version of the Android of the app. For those of you using Apple phones and Apple tablets and stuff, we are still working to come out with the iOS version of the app. But for those of you using Android, whether it be a tablet or phone, the Samsungs and so on, the LGs, every Android phone, you can go to Play Store, just Google ABC Amber TV, ABC Amber TV, and download the app. You will not regret doing so. Please, once more, you have not yet redeemed your draft. The moment has come. The time has come. December is the last month for all the 2020 drafts to be redeemed. Redeem your draft to your counties, to your LGAs. You don't need to call here or call the interim government to draft here unless you just want directives how to do it. But if you know your local government leaders, your county leaders, call them, redeem your drafts. Let us make sure that our fighters on Ground Zero have appropriate equipment to prosecute this war with. Sure, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in once more. It was a pleasure to come to you. I will be coming back to you possibly on Friday. I have a very, very exclusive, exciting interview with an international player who will be coming to tell us their experience in mediation, dialogue and mediation in international conflicts such as ours. Please, may you all remain strong, courageous, and safe, especially if you are on Ground Zero. See you next time.